No sign of the sun here yet, with intense fog. So just heading down here to the mosaic for a moment, because here we have all of Galilee in the 1st century. And I want to get to Mount Tabor because that's our gospel scene today. So this map, 1.5 million pieces of stone, goes from the Mediterranean Sea. The Romans called it Mare Nostrum. And here we have Caesarea Maritima and Megiddo. And over here, Sepphoris, not too far from Nazareth, which is here, and Cana. And really very close to Cana and Nazareth is Mount Tabor. And that's our scene today. And there we have Jesus flanked by Moses and Elijah. And we'll be talking about that in a moment. So just to, that's the way we can touch Mount Tabor from right here in Magdala. But actually, if you go up on top of Mount Arbel here near us, you can see Mount Tabor. And last Sunday we were hiking up there, and it was possible to see Mount Tabor and Mount Hermon obviously very easily, because Mount Hermon we can even see from here over at the lake when the visibility is good enough. So there you have Mount Arbel, and we were just up there on the top, not too far from those trees right up there. Let me show you. See those trees up there in the top in the center of the screen? Maybe 100 yards from there. And we could look southwest toward Mount Tabor and northeast toward Mount Hermon. The Arbel is getting green again. We'll have to go up there soon, but today we're promised a little more rain. Not sure how much rain there will be. And then during the week there's going to be rain as well. So when the mountain gets wet, it's not a good place to go walking. At least we've plenty of dry weather to walk up there on the dry days. I think the reading we have today is striking for everyone, for every human being. You know, we have that great line that we often refer to from creation. Creation is always a point of reference. The creation accounts of Genesis, they're really foundational texts. Maybe for a while some people sneered at them because they weren't scientific like our modern science. But, you know, there's such incredible truth in the teaching of Genesis. And those very, very first foundational chapters of the creation account. And there we have the image and likeness of God. That one, for example. To be made in the image and likeness of God. That's a very powerful truth about the human being. And it's actually mentioned also in the first reading today. And then the first command that's given to us to multiply and exercise dominion. And the word dominion is a big word today in the reading. But it's dominion not so much of nuclear energy or, let's say, electricity or the forces of gravity. It's dominion of ourselves. You know, we are blessed to have an extraordinary position in creation. We share a lot of the life, the reality of material matter, you know. Our blood and our bones and our flesh and all the chemicals then of living matter, all the processing of food, nourishment, generation. Oh, sorry about that. I tried to get that bird, but I didn't judge correctly. I had zoomed in too much. There's a little cormorant took off there. There's so much fog this morning. So we share all that, but we have such a spiritual richness of understanding and knowledge, communication, the capacity to love. To exercise dominion of ourselves, because we have to get our act together. That's not easy for us, to get our act together. A lot of little birds here in the water. And 2 little ducks here. To get dominion of ourselves. And St. James later talks about the dominion of our tongue. You know, it's great. I haven't watched any of the Olympics, but Father Donald was sometimes reporting a little bit about he sees some of the Olympics these days. And the dominion people exercise in those sports. And dominion over our body. Dominion of coordination. Also dominion over fear. The risk people take in these sports, jumping so high, skiing, ballet, all these sports. You know, there's extraordinary dominion of the human body, but dominion of our tongue, that's the big challenge. And there's that beautiful image that the letter to the St. James, the letter of James uses, and that is that the tongue is like the rudder of a boat. It's a small little piece, and it steers the whole ship, a huge ship. That's a powerful image. And then the image of the forest on fire that was started with a small little fire, smaller than the size of your hand. And it can burn a huge forest. What an extraordinary, beautiful, eloquent image of the reality of things we say. And something said can really hurt deeply, or it can build up. It can construct, or it can destroy. And how many beautiful words parents speak to their children and bring out the best from them. Help them to develop, to grow in confidence, to grow in the ability to express themselves. And to express themselves with great care when they're angry, when they're in some difficulty, when they disagree. To learn to have dominion of our tongue, what we say. What a great sign of maturity when people can refrain from verbal retaliation, verbal lashing out. And that's an exercise that's needed again today with the social media. Sometimes there are very, very caustic remarks, and sometimes a remark can cause a war. And another remark can bring peace because it brings understanding. It makes a distinction between things, and we see, okay, there are two aspects of this problem, so let's understand this one this way, and now we can maybe reach a compromise on the other one. It's good that we're aware of that and we develop habits. You know, the habits are very important. You know, where you leave your toothbrush and where you leave your phone. And if you leave it in a different place because of a particular circumstance, then maybe you don't find it readily and you're wondering, where did I leave it? But the habits help us a lot. They simplify life for us because we're in the habit of doing it this way. And we don't have to ponder that too much. Our focus can be on other things because our habits allow us to deal with other circumstances and challenges, and the majority of our actions can happen smoothly and easily. To build habits, to form habits in every field, with habits with our tongue. To have the goal of every day saying a couple of encouraging, positive words, at least once a day, to family members. Words of appreciation, words with a kind tone. Words that don't humiliate. Words that appreciate. The present reading of the level of the water here in the Sea of Galilee is 1.11 meters below the maximum level. So there you can see the mark on the wall, that dark part there can take that rise of the lake. So little by little there's a chance it might fill up. I was a little doubtful that it would fill up this year to the full level, but maybe it will. Depends on how much rain we get now and next week and in March. And it will continue filling up a little bit through April with the melting snows in Mount Hermon. No sign of the sun today. There's enough light being generated to detect the Golan now. You can see those hills. With no near a sign of the sun. If anyone does not fall short in speech, he is a perfect man. How many times we want to bite our tongue because we said something that was not the right thing to say at the right time. And somebody was hurt or somebody was upset. If we put bits into the mouths of horses to make them obey us, we also guide their whole bodies. It is the same with ships. They are steered by a very small rudder, wherever the pilot's inclination wishes. In the same way, the tongue is a small member and yet has great pretensions. And you know, words are creative. Words, God's words are creative, but also our words. A word well spoken by a coach to a kid in a team can lift up that kid and affect his whole life, her whole life. Harsh words by a coach to a child can be devastating, especially in moments of failure, moments of disappointment. And there again, love is the secret. Love is really the deepest steering rudder of our lives. If we love people, then we're not going to hurt them. We're only going to edify and build them up. So read that letter there of St. James. This text today is pretty good motivation. There are some strong words in there. I leave them for you to read. And just go to the last line of it. From the same mouth come blessing and cursing. And there's a very powerful reflection. He says, my brothers, this need not be so. My brothers, this need not be so. Our mouths which utter blessing need not utter cursing, utter negativity. That water is warm. Coming out, I still have to investigate a little bit about that. You will protect us, Lord. So we could ask the Lord to protect us from doing negativity with our tongue. And now I realize the time has rolled by in this slow pondering, and we won't get to the transfiguration today, not too much. Oh, these birds really fly around here. So we're up on the mountain, and we sat behind the fog, you know, the fog comes on the mountain. There's the transfiguration. There's a little bit of fog in front of every person we see, and because it hides the mystery that's in each person. What a mystery in every person. A mystery of God's presence, of God's plan, of God's creation, God's purpose. A mystery of eternal glory in the budding and the making. How we see each person, each human being. A mystery called for eternal glory. A child of God, made in His image and likeness. And then obviously in Jesus, what a mystery. The Word was made flesh and dwelt among us, and the transfiguration, Peter and James and John get a glimpse of that glory. What a glimpse of glory. Let our words bring out a glimpse of glory in each human being whom we address. See you later, alligators. God bless you today. We were waiting for a little rain.